So, welcome to part two of the Black Photographers You Should Know About. This is a long awaited sequel. I can't lie. Y'all showed so much love on the first one that I was like, yeah, there's definitely got to be a part two. There's definitely got to be a part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, there's just so many black photographers, so many black creatives, like so many like artists in the world, and I gotta do due diligence and making sure, I cover people that I'm inspired by, people that I adore. That's the only way we're gonna learn about other artists is if we share the artists that we love. So what makes this part two exciting is that I got to talk to some of my peers, and I think a lot of times when we just think about just like being inspired by people, adoring people, loving people's work, we kind of just look up to them, we see them as like mentors, people who are just like really, knee deep into their careers and know exactly who they are. But at the same time, we could be inspired by each other, inspired by people across from us in the hustle, in the mix, still, searching and finding themselves. I don't think this, idea of being successful or this idea of being creative is only for those who know exactly, who they are and who their voices are. It's all about people who are still, in the mud getting it together. So that's what makes this episode exciting. Of course, again, without further ado, we're gonna get into five black photographers that I believe that you should know about. And, this is in no particular order. No particular order. No particular order. And number one, I have a homie now. I could call him that. His name is Julien Azamosa.
My name is Julien Azamosa. I'm a photographer based in Berlin, Germany. And yeah, I photograph mainly portrait photography and fashion, street fashion, portrait. Yeah, and a mixed cultural portraits. Yes.
He loves portraiture. He loves people. His work is very people driven, but he is largely inspired by everything around him: the people, the culture, the food, the music.
Are things that kind of guide like your work.
I have to say culture in general, my culture, my people's culture, street culture, the culture of Berlin people or people in my old town, everything around the cultural aspect is most important for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
different hair textures, people, nationalities, religions, everything. So I try to blend fashion and aesthetic, pleasing portraits with cultural aspects.
And what I really admired was the way he talked about getting to know the people that he photographed.
And most people I photograph are just people I met outside, and I'm like, man, I like how you look, I like your personality, and then we link up, or friends I already know. So yeah, this is
nah,
more
that
important for me than just okay, this is a good model, so we can make some nice portraits. I like more, I need more depth in my eyes what I'm interested in. So this is how most stuff I'm outside meeting new people, and I'm like, I like the vibe, I like the story of the person, or something. There's something I'm interested in, and then I would take some portraits, meet up, talk, get in touch. Then I know the story and everything, so I collect everything in my head. Sometimes I write stuff down. I collect pictures.
And I thought that was very unique because when it comes to, very portrait focused work, I would say that, sometimes it is a lot of you getting to know this person and photographing them over months, days, years, even at times. And I think that's something that we kind of miss a little bit, and how a lot of work is created these days. It's things are very quick. Needless to say that idea of cultivating a relationship and actually like getting to know someone over a course of time and then photographing them is like, oh, this is cool. Like I like that. I like that. That's how you approach your work. he also spoke about just like doing what you like, like try different things and just do what you like. It's just as simple as that.
Just do what you want to do. This is most important. Do stuff you're interested in. And because I know a photographer in Berlin. He does so much different stuff, different kind of photographs. And sometimes I'm like, man, how do you make this look so good? Or you make he did something about a pizza, just about pizza spots in Berlin, and he was like, yeah, I'm interested in this, so this might make sense. So of course this makes sense for him. So do what you want, do what you are interested in. This is the most important stuff. So
Yeah.
and don't care too much about social media and all of stuff. I was chasing this for years, stressing. I need some new photographs for Instagram and this and that, and I felt like, okay, I'm not going forward. I'm just staying on the same spot, always chasing something that's in hype right now, or that no, this is kind of photography is cool. No, this kind of stuff is cool. I had to learn this, do my own thing, and and most of the time, this is what people are interested in. So when people are talking to me and giving me feedback, it's most of the time it's the stuff I'm interested in. That's the stuff they find cool, not the pictures everybody does, because you know.
Yeah, thank you to Julien for, taking time out of your day to like talk to me, and yeah, I'm excited to see more. And if you would like to learn more about him as an artist, he also has a YouTube channel, so you can check out his work and just, enjoy. So number 2 on this list is Blue Waverly. This is a homie. This is a good friend of mine. She is a Kenyan American photographer by way of Florida, currently based in New York City. And I would describe Blue's work, honestly, as it's pure. It feels pure.
I think when I first picked up a camera, like my whole goal was literally just to document. I really like the way that I see the world, and a camera was a great way for me to be able to translate that and even reference what I see. That's always nice, but I think I'm just inspired by truth, like truthful moments, truthful interactions, truthful engagements, history, things that are just truth. Yeah.
I would say her work, photography wise, sits between streets, candid moments, and then obviously like studio moments. But even calling her a photographer is quite limiting, and that's something that was kind of a common theme through everyone that I spoke to, was that they see themselves as an artist. Like they have different skills, different things that they love to do. In the case of Blues is fashion, styling, DJing, music, like reading, all of it. Set design. I might even be forgetting some things because Blue do it all for real. Like Blue do it all. And it's really interesting to see like how those different facets bleed into the style of photography that she does.
Yeah, like in storytelling and visual direction, like and even documenting, like you honestly have to live your life. You have to be an authentic person. You have to know what you love. You have to really live. You have to do things. Like you cannot just sit in a box and then somehow be able to tell the stories of the world. It's literally insane to think that that is possible, you know? So um this is how I meet other people. This is how I connect, you know, in all the ways. Like all these are all just languages. These are all just languages for expression. And it allows me to even speak to other people. It allows me to see other people, to maybe understand where they come from, and to see more things that are worth documenting. But they all intersect.
The other interesting thing that we talked about was about like, street photography. And that's something like I think a lot of us who don't do it often, we're like, yo, how were they able to get this image?
I don't even know that I always ask, if I'm honest. And I think that was something I think that was something that I struggled with at first. because I'm so big on consent and my general ethics. And so I think I I had a hard time just kind of, I don't know, I felt like I was stealing a little bit. But
Mm.
then I don't know that I felt like I was stealing. I think that I just didn't want to, I guess I didn't want to invade anyone's right to, you know, existing undocumented, you know? And so in the beginning, I think I didn't know if I should always ask. But then when I challenged that and I tried to always ask, I was no longer able to capture what I originally wanted to document, because people people change when they know that they're being watched, you know. People perform when they know that something is going to be documented. People transition into whatever they think is the best version of themselves for the camera. And I don't really want that. I don't need whatever that is. You probably perform in your day-to-day life anyways. Like, there are other people that get to see that. Um, Me and my lens, I would prefer if nobody ever posed for me ever. Like, unless that was something that we pre-planned. Like, I just don't think that that's something that I'm interested in, quite frankly.
I think being a street photographer is a very delicate place of like asking for permission, or asking for permission after the fact, because you never want to interrupt an organic moment. So yeah, if you never heard of Blue Waverly, definitely check her out. She a one for one, and dive into her work, not just her photography work, but all the other facets of tools that are in her arsenal to create. And yeah, check her out. So number 3 on this list is Edward Gilbert. You might be familiar with his game if you on YouTube, and also known as Eddie G. He is a Colorado-based photographer who, again, like I said on this list, using photographer is almost limiting to some degree, because he's also a filmmaker. He's worked in media production. He works at his family's church. Like, anything media, he got you. Anything production on set, he got you. Rigging, lighting, all of that. Like, cinema cameras, all of that, all of that, all of that. Like, he's your guy. One of his projects we actually spoke about that I actually was like blown away when I seen it was when he did on-set photography for a short film. And I was like, yo, all shot on film. The lighting, I mean, obviously there's a lot of the rolls of film, the color. It was just very like intimate.
That was like, even when I got those images back, I was just sitting at home just like tripping, raw. It was nuts. But like, that was my first, it wasn't my first time, but I mean, I guess so, my first time being like the dedicated set photographer for that, because usually, yeah, I'm in either a PA or a grip or camera or whatever, some other position, and then I just have my camera on me, so I'm just snapping pictures here and there. But that one, yeah, it was the first time, and um it was my first time shooting that type of film as well. And I was like super nervous. I really didn't have like a clue what I was doing. I was just like, I hope these images come out. A lot of the lighting situations were like really crazy because it's like lit for, a movie that they were shooting on film as well. And so I was kind of just like trusting my gut. And it's just like, how to use a camera and whatnot. And like so many images came out. I don't even think I like shared everything from that, but there was like really dark situations and just like really dynamically lit situations. And after I finished that experience, I was talking to a friend. I was just like, yo, that's the first time I've done like a photography job where I'm like, yo, I could do this. Like,
a lot of his other work as well is very family style, where he's photographing his nieces and nephews, his siblings, his parents, and just the people that make up his family. And I think that's a bit of a lost art, like this idea of just like documenting our family. I think a lot of it does live on our phones, quite frankly, but just like seeing it in film, which is like reminiscent of what we did use or what our parents used back in the day, you know, to take photos of themselves with their family that all now live in photo albums. So because it has that feel or that texture, that aesthetic by using film, it just makes his work feel that much more like connected to a time and a place.
I guess my family too has kind of just been my fallback of what I like to like document as well. That's something that when I'm not out shooting the streets, something that I'm like really passionate about photographing. I photographed my dad a lot when he was alive, and that kind of just like that him and my brother's kids when they were living here. Yeah, I'd always just like have a camera on me photographing them. But they left, and now my sister's here with her kids, so I kind of just photograph them whenever they're around.
What I appreciated about like our conversation was just overall just kind of just thinking about what it means to be an artist in your own right. You know, not doing what society or what the status quo tells you you should be doing as an artist. It's really, you know, focusing in on what you find authentic to yourself and sort of just rejecting this idea that being an artist means that you fit inside this mold, or being an artist means you have to promote your work this way, or you have to take photographs this way, or you have to make work this way, and it being a little bit more integrated into your lifestyle as like wanting to just tell stories.
How are you defining authenticity for yourself as a photographer or as a creative? Because you also said you didn't want to go with the labels as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, it goes back to just documenting my family, documenting community, and just being more genuine to just like real life.
I liked what you said about life is precious, life being precious,
Yeah.
and being able to see that humanity reflected in the work that you're making, how you see your work. I think that's so beautiful.
Because at the end of the day, like depending on whatever people believe, it's just like that it ultimately just doesn't matter. And it's just like be a good person, and just value like the time we have here. Uh because life is so short. And so yeah, a lot of that just inspires me to just be like, okay, let's not get caught up in all the egotistical nuance and stuff of the world, and just like make sure we're enjoying our lives and people we connect with.
But yeah, that is Eddie G. Eddie G is also on YouTube. So definitely check his work out, check out his videos. He not only just shows, you know, the work that he makes, but he also talks about the process and the equipment and the things that help him, you know, refine his eye and create the work that he wants. So yeah, definitely check out his work. Another good friend. His name is Vince Perry. He is a Seattle-based photographer and filmmaker. All-around cool guy, all-around hustler. Like, this guy's the epitome of hustle, man. Like, he's a hustler. He's a deep creative. He's inspired by so much. And he's one of the realest creatives that I know. Also, in the YouTube space, how we connected was through the YouTube space. So I'm very, you know, humbled to share his work in this video, because a lot of it I'm very inspired by, especially his filmmaking side and being able to merge still and motion together in just a way that's like they just add to each other. They work collaboratively together.
Thank you so much for saying that and recognizing me as a photographer and filmmaker. I feel like a lot of people, they just skim over that and just forget that there is a motion side to the work that I do. So it feels good to be recognized in that way, and then also be recognized as not only those titles, but to be recognized as an artist. Because at the end of the day, that title is what I identify with the most. It's like I'm just trying to create, through these various mediums, and people want to label it or call it whatever it is, that's fine. But, sometimes labels feel extremely limiting. And my creative journey has been one that has been filled with a lot of different things. from photography and filmmaking, and those things for me kind of marry up. And more recently, I've been diving into getting more into documentary filmmaking and just like that mindset, as well as for photography. I started shooting back in 2016 in August. That was the first time I really picked up a camera and went for it. And from that day on, it's always been portraits. I've always shot people, and then that slowly evolved to, shooting portraits, to getting more into fashion and the whole fashion world and high fashion and all that, and doing editorials. And have experience with shooting like street photography, but I wouldn't necessarily categorize myself as a street photographer. I'd probably say more travel photography, kind of like that realm, documentary feel. More of this like trying to document, I think, my experiences from places that I've been, whether that's like at home or abroad or anywhere, hopping on a plane to go. I just like to think sometimes I'm just like a photographer of life, and I just want to be able to be in any situation and capture a good photo, be able to capture the moment.
One of his favorite projects that we talked about, and I thought I was annoying him because I was like bringing up old work, but I had talked about his London project that took a few years to actually complete. I don't even think it's fully done, to be honest, but like I just remember when he was sharing the time he spent in London. It was very documentary style, and all the shoots that he did. Yo, he told me he did like 3, 4, maybe even 5 shoots a day, like on an hour, just connecting with people out in London while he was here. And just having like an epiphany moment of like, yo, when I went, I didn't take enough, footage. So the next time I go, I'm just not going to run away from that opportunity. And I feel like sometimes, when we do travel work or when we visit a new place, I think sometimes we get caught up in wanting to visit so many different new places. And not a lot of times do we feel like, we keep visiting the same place and like actually getting to know that place a bit more.
First and foremost, is a very special place to me. I first went to London back in 2018, and I've gone a few times since then. And I wish I could go more, and I'm trying to work towards being able to do that more. Be out in the UK, just because I have a really strong sense of community there, and I think because of my personal experience there, how that impacted me on a spiritual level, I feel like I was able to kind of translate that and bring it to my work. Like that, my personal experience motivated me to pick that camera up. Or like when I did the London project, which I'm in the process, not right at this moment, but I am gonna re-release that at some point. I want to figure out a way to put everything in one video, and instead of having it sparsed out like it was before, and just reintroduce that to some people that may have not been familiar with my work. But when I think about filming that series and like why I started that project, and I didn't realize it was a project until later, it came from a place of not being able or not feeling able to do that actually at home in Seattle, where I've been living for some time now, since 2018. And because I felt like I wasn't able to fully tap into the creativity there, when I went there, it kind of felt like, oh, I was freed from all my problems or anything that had a hold over me. And it kind of felt like, oh, I was back to normal. And maybe that's a form of escapism. But when I got there, it was just like, damn, it's time to go. Like we're out here, let's create. I think I did like, I might have set up like, I could be wrong, maybe between like 16 and 18 shoots this week, like for a week in London, and I was hitting them kind of back to back through the day. But I was just so motivated to capture people and also connect. Like a part of taking portraits of people, that experience for me is a personal one, and being able to connect with another human. And I think that is what makes my work what it is being able to genuinely seek that connection.
Outside of that, just how he was able to cultivate relationships while he was there, and use that opportunity to document that time in his life, and also the people and that time in their life, and the other part too, that we spoke about was about this idea of sharing old work. And like, I am guilty of this. Like, I am like head honcho, like throw me in jail, lock away, throw away the key, because like I have a hard time, sharing old work at times, especially because, we all get in this cycle of like creating work. The work sits there for a while. You don't know what to do with it just yet. And sometimes you're even intimidated at the bulk of the footage that you've taken, or you don't know what direction, or you just feel, I guess you just have that fear of starting. That's what I like to call it, just a fear of starting. And then by the time we edit it, looking at it, doing this and the third, so much time has passed that we feel like, oh, it's unworthy of being shared some more, which is untrue.
Honestly, when it comes to sharing work, I think this has evolved over, recent years, and it's been moved away from, I think, kind of the typical social media mindset of like, I just shot this yesterday, let me post it today, and it's only good for today, and by tomorrow it's nothing, right? There's an author by the name of Amy McNee. She recently wrote a book called We Need Your Art, and her Instagram tag is inspired to write, but she's really kind of like a creative coach, and just really tries to enable creatives out there, and regardless of the medium, to just like, hey, creatives, we got to keep resharing your work. It doesn't matter if you did that project years ago, you could present it again, find another way to present it. Because another thing is too, especially for me, I found like people that maybe was rocking with me some years ago, they don't maybe rock with me no more, which is fine, because people's attention spans and stuff online is a lot different. People move quickly. And there may be new people coming into my work that have never seen this thing that I've done before. And one thing that I think about, and I feel like this kind of maybe goes back to that just photo and filmmaking thing, where it's like, when I think about how they make films, sometimes it's just like a 2 to 3 year process, maybe 4 year process of a making of a film. But when you go to the theater, you don't watch the film and you go, damn, they started making this years ago, this ain't no good. You don't do that. Nobody thinks about that. Everybody go watch the film when it comes out. People rewatch film from years ago, and in a way, the stuff that we're putting online is still, that's still a form of like people, I guess, taking in media in a way. Like, if you, those are, I don't think, the best words, but you don't go to like an art exhibit and go, damn, they made this hella long ago, this ain't no good no more. Nobody does that. It's just like, this is something that's kind of perpetuated online. Or it's like, the way that I think about, like, even photographers too, like, people, I think, really hold a lot of weight and respect, rightfully so, to, I guess, these kind of historical or legendary photographers. And I don't necessarily want to name people like off the top of my head in terms of like photographers that are held in higher regard of the past, right? But like, people now that are creating are still referencing these people's work from ages ago or years ago, whatever, rightfully so, because these people have made their mark, and left their legacy, whether left the legacy behind, or established some sort of legacy, if these people are still living. But nobody looks through these photo books and goes, damn, this ain't new, this wasn't yesterday, this ain't last week. So it's like, kind of like reprogramming your mind to kind of like step back into that space.
Just that idea, it sounds silly. I'm not gonna watch a movie because that work is old. They made that movie they shot the footage 5 years ago, so I ain't gonna watch it. Nah, you still gonna buy a ticket. You still gonna sit in that theater and you still gonna watch it. Yeah, Vince is an incredible filmmaker, photographer. Like I said, I'm just moved by his style of being able to marry stills and motion together. So definitely check him out. He's also a fellow YouTuber. He has a lot of new work coming out soon. I heard some exclusives, when I'll call. So definitely tap in with the homie. He's a 1-for-1. So next on this list is Deana Lawson. Listen, y'all. Listen. I'm not even going to lie to anybody. This is a new OG in my world. Deana Lawson was, someone commented her on my video, and when I searched her, I was awestruck immediately. And also, listen, one thing I'll say I love about the OGs, yo, they be dead ass about not having a website or having social media. Like they be dead ass. And yeah, I watched a few of her talks on YouTube. One of them is 8 years old, from the Chicago Institute. And yeah, I just thank you. Like, thank you for recommending me to check out Deana Lawson. She has so many accolades. I mean, Hugo Boss Prize, Guggenheim Fellowship. I mean, traveling to different countries like Jamaica, Congo, photographing people. And I think what took me aback when I first saw her work, like, first time looking at it was like, whoa, the juxtapositions. Like, I love me a good juxtaposition. I think that's like my favorite word in the English language, juxtaposition, of being able to like have that contrast between, either it's between the background, maybe it's between the people, maybe it's the background and the aesthetic. Like, I just love juxtaposition. And one of the ones that I had seen was the one with two men, one with like no shirt and the other dude with a suit, and just seeing how like they're literally like two sides of the same coin, but an immediate contrast to each other. But that's father and son. Like, that's father and son. Like, that's crazy. And then also just like the homey background vibe that they got going on, which I later did discover is her aesthetic. This, again, like this idea of using film and creating that family portrait. Like, we all have it. You know what I mean? Like, my mom, I would say, in my family was like the family documentarian for sure. Like, at least up until a point, you know, because we kind of lose that when we don't print our pictures out. But we all have photo albums at the crib. Like, we have baby pictures of us. We have young adult pictures of our parents, just like all existing in this photo album that's like by hand, and it has an aesthetic. Like, you see it, it's either really warm, because you know the Kodak film back in the day, still till now, and just like kind of like, I won't even say the grittiness of it, but like just the very like organicness of it. You know, some stuff's posed. You know, you can tell, you know, your mom was posing, or your dad was posing, or like just you as a kid just like moving in the world just free, and you feel that freeness in the image. So that aesthetic, yo, bring back photo albums, y'all. Like, just me going down memory lane. Like, we need to seriously bring back photo albums. Like, we need photo albums, man. Like, this stuff where the photo album list lives in iCloud, like, no, like, we need to start printing stuff out and making photo albums again. But another tangent for another day. But yeah, Deana Lawson, that's her aesthetic, you know, and you can see that throughout her work. You see the aesthetic of that family portrait. And I think the other thing too that I loved, that I learned, was that everything's staged. You know, everything's staged. And obviously you could probably kind of get that vibe, but like low key, nah, you can't really see the vibe. And I think the reason why you don't fully see the vibe of it being staged is because the staging is not perfect. Like, it's not a perfect backdrop and like very overtly aesthetic feeling spaces. Like, it literally looks like a living room you've been in. It looks like a kitchen that you've been in. It looks like a space that you've been in, because it has that homey vibe to it. So it's like she's staging home, essentially, or staging an intimate setting, and then juxtapositioning it with the people that she photographs. And similar to literally every person on this list is the idea of building relationships and cultivating relationships with the people that she photographs. And I think, honestly, that is just something that's clear. You could tell the people feel comfortable being photographed. It doesn't feel entirely posed, even though the background is very much so staged and the setting and everything is very much so directed, but it still feels natural. So yeah, definitely check her out. Like, Deana Lawson, your work's amazing. I hope to meet you one day. For real, for real. Do some more talks. Like, I want to know more about your work. Like, all of that. Like, check her out. She has so many accolades. She's a Black woman in this space, and I just think she's just really raw. And we need that as artists. Like, we need to put out raw things. So yeah, shout out to Deana Lawson. All right, so that concludes the Black photographers that you should know about part 2. If you made it all the way to this video, man, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if there's a photographer that you felt that I need to know about myself, because, you know, I don't know everything and I don't know everyone, be sure to comment them down below. I'll be sure to be on the lookout. And if you do enjoy these kinds of videos, I'll be sure to do more in the future. But as always, it's always a pleasure sharing work, talking creativity, talking photography. I think this is, you know, my way of giving back to the photography community. So I appreciate you joining and being a part of the ride. As always, remember, the genius in me sees the genius in you. And I'm always, always rooting for you. Peace.